boost of Christmas future?
Depends. You've been a bad boy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to this week's live stream, and today we are going to try to go through a full live stream without any issues. I'm here for about as long as you have me, because Lord knows I've been having problems with my internet connection literally all day. Don't know what's happening with that, so let's just hope we can make it through this. Now, that being said, I am here to answer whatever questions you guys do have, and we're going to be talking about some of the fun future stuff that, of course, is on the horizon, like CES 2020 and all that jazz. Now, for starters, I want to say a huge thank you to all of the members of the channel. You guys are fantastic and awesome, and I really do appreciate it. I mean, we've got quite a few members that have come on to the channel now. I think we're at now 115 of you guys, so a massive shout out to all of you guys. Seriously, thank you for supporting what I do here. A big shout out as well to all of our moderators. I've seen that you guys have really been doing a fantastic job of making sure we're keeping conversations not necessarily clean, if you will, but just free of people just trying to troll for the sake of hatred. So I really do appreciate that as well. Now, that being said, I want to say what's up to Armand. You said hello, so what's going on? And William, you're asking a question here. You said hello, sir. I have the Q8FN firmware 1207, which is starter. You said, is it not worth upgrading right now? No, I would not update your software. Upgrading system software is typically a really, really bad idea, and this is definitely no exception. So just not to elaborate too much, right? But the idea here is when you go to system software update, I'm probably going to make a video about this later on, but essentially it's not what they promise you, and you run into de-optimization problems because issues happen when you have patches and stuff like that. So, just food for thought there. What's going on, Silent Wake? What's happening, man? And huge shout out to you for your donation of $4.99. As you know, brother, it always helps us out here. You said, hey, everyone, just dropping in to show my support, and I hope everyone has a great weekend. Back to work. I appreciate that a lot. I mean, really, a lot of you guys come through on lunch breaks and all kinds of things, and I really do see you guys. So thank you so much for all of the support you guys do give. What's going on, Gene? You said, or J. Dean. I don't know why I read it Gene, but I guess they were so close to each other. A simple mistake to make. But either way, what's going on, man? You said, okay, so just to recap and stick to the relative information, he has stated the following. TCL pass, Q825 pass, H9F yes, Q8FN yes, A8G yes. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, those are great TVs. I mean, there are always exceptions that you can make. Like, if something goes out of stock and you're, like, super duper impatient and you just can't wait. Yeah, you can go with the Sony X950G if, right? I love that word. It's a beautiful word that allows you to kind of say whatever you want, right? After that, right? If you're okay for the black levels to look a certain way, and that is gray, ugly, and hazy in some situations. Now, that is not to be misinterpreted to say the, again, X950G never could have beautiful black levels, but it struggles. And similarly, we could apply this to literally every TV on the market right now, right? We could say, yeah, the TCL 6 Series, it could be a great TV if you're okay, and then list all the cons. I mean, literally, the mountains of cons. So, I mean, yeah, in essence, that's kind of where I'm at right now, but feel free if you have a specific TV that you have a question about, just ask me, man, and I'll help you however I can. Hamad, I'm gonna mess this up. Hamdi Zagar. You gotta let me know how to pronounce your name. I'm gonna jack that up a lot. Hamdi, what's going on? You said, is this the A8G? This is a live stream of Injustice 2 on the PlayStation 4 Pro. So it's just a direct feed from the PlayStation 4 Pro. Nothing else about that, and that's it, man. William, what's going on? You said for these settings, which one for the past year do you recommend for the best picture for movies and games? It's kind of hard, right? Because I feel like the Q8FN and the AAG complement each other ridiculously well. Like, there are things about the Q8FN that I absolutely hate that the AAG picks up the slack on, but then vice versa. So I think, honestly, the AAG and Q8FN are like rivals. They're like equal in their ability to disappoint and please you in a lot of ways. Now, that being said, I do want to clarify something for all of you guys watching, and I will continue to do so as time goes forward. I see a lot of people wondering whether or not I am bought or paid for by Sony because I've been extremely positive by just talking about the AAG. Obviously, I mean, we can see I'm really supporting the TV. Here's the deal, guys. I hate Sony passionately. I would almost swear just then. I hate them so much. Nobody could quantify my level of hatred for Sony as a company. They are nasty, they have bad attitudes, they are very rude to consumers, they do not help 90% of the time when you have a customer complaint, and I could go on for hours like this. Please do not make the mistake of believing for a second that I care 1 second about what Sony thinks. They are just X, Y, Z, this, that, and the third. I could just say so many words, but I won't. I'll try to keep it family friendly for whatever reason I'm doing that tonight. That being said, we're going to move on with the questions here. And by starting off, I would say, again, to answer William's question, I mean, I think they complement each other great. If I had to pick one, right, I'm, for whatever reason, about to be marooned on this magical island where I only have one outlet or a spot for one TV. You have to pick one. Backing out is not an option. Then between all the TVs that I've seen, I would still go for the Samsung Q8FN or H9F. I say or because if you have access to either or, then great. I want to give you guys some alternatives. But ultimately, I would still probably pick the Q8FN because it's the most versatile. It has the brightness for future content. It has the color for future content. It has FreeSync for future content. I mean, it's a fantastic TV. And I have literally no complaints for the most part outside of that garbage color space management system that Samsung, for whatever reason, year after year keeps bringing back as if it's something people want. It literally does nothing, but they've yet to figure that out, apparently. What's going on, Anthony? You said, hello, Quantum. Q8FN versus 950G versus the H9F in terms of detail and motion. 900E is my reference. Okay, so if we're using the 900E as a reference, I can safely start off by saying the closest one in the 900E, and I would say let's just do it in kind of chronological order, right? From best to worst. I don't know why I said chronological, as if the date would matter, but you get what I'm saying. We're just gonna do it in descending order from best to worst. Okay, so the H9F is closest to the 900E. Followed by the Q8FN, followed by the 950G. And that's how in terms of motion. Now, in terms of detail, it's going to be the 950G, the Q8FN, and then the H9F. Now, I'm going to elaborate on that further by telling you why. Here's why, Anthony. So, the Q8FN has excellent contrast, and so does the X950G. The X950G is actually rocking the best processing chip that's on the market right now with the X1 Ultimate. However, the Q8FN, not so far off that it would be a slaughter, right? Now, the Hisense H9F is different. The Hisense H9F has it's a trade-off, right? So there are moments where the picture can look way too soft, and you'll have to decide if you want to over-sharpen your image or under-sharpen your image. And I found that I had to drop down to sharpness 10, which really kind of made things look not the greatest. So I sometimes would pump it up to 11, and depending if the content's 4K or not, I could even pump it up to 12 or even 13 to be very ambitious. So there were trade-offs that I had to make there. But in terms of motion, the Hisense H9F is just literally like a clone of the 900E in terms of how fluid it is, and then a step above that. So it was really fantastic in a lot of areas. Now, the one weak area of the Hisense H9F is going to be the black frame insertion. It is garbage, absolutely garbage. It doesn't really do much of anything outside of make things look a little dimmer. And I don't know why it's still a feature being added in TVs, because it doesn't help. The 950G, it's better because of X motion clarity and things like that, but the motion problems on the 950G stem from anytime there's like fast panning moving objects. The artifacting is so real, it's not even funny. I had motion blurring as well. I keep referencing Avengers Infinity Wars as where I found the biggest problems with the 950G. That fight scene in Wakanda when they're running across that open plain, that for me was just like I threw my hands up and I was out, because it was just really jarring and distracting. So hopefully that kind of helps you out if we're using the 900E as a reference, man. All right, so Jay Dean said just wanted to wrap up the next 30 minutes of the same question and stick to your future thoughts. Cheers. I appreciate that. I most definitely appreciate that, because yes, things definitely do get quite repetitive, so I do appreciate you taking the initiative to do a recap for people who might be a little new here, so thank you. What's going on, Paul? You said, went to Best Buy today, saw the X950G next to the A8G. Even the display model had horrible blooming. I'm returning mine for the A8G. Wow. Just wow. Yeah, and that was kind of my experience as well. I mean, like, it's not as if the A8G is like the end-all to be-all TV. I think we can all agree on that. But I think when you compare the Sony X950G, and they just did not try with the black levels. And one of our guys here on the channel, I actually got a message today. I don't know if it was like through Facebook or through the community tab or just the regular comments. I actually don't remember. But one of you guys in the community had a problem where you tried to reach out to Sony and put in a service ticket or something, and they told him that that's just the way that the TV was made. It completely and totally pissed me off, because it's like, yeah, Sony, okay, so you can admit that blooming's a problem, but now you're not going to replace this TV because that's just the way it was made. And this is what I was talking about earlier when I say they're nasty. They're really, you guys just, you have no idea. If you've ever dealt with Sony on a manufacturer level because you don't have a warranty, then you'll understand this hatred I have for Sony. They have people in those call centers with some serious mouths on them. But what's worse is, if you think it's just those call centers, when you email Sony directly, those corporate executives are 10,000 times worse, and you'll blow a head gasket on them. Trust me. So, yeah. I believe all of what you're saying right now, Paul, and I really feel sorry for your experience, and I hate that you're going through that, and I thank you for sharing that with the community today, because, yeah, these TVs should not be made with blooming. It's just garbage. We've got Derek, what's going on? You said my Samsung Q7 FN, and you said ha. I don't really understand it, but okay. What's going on, William? You said, sir, how do I join and support your channel? Members only. So to support the channel, next to the subscribe button on the main channel or even onto the video, you can see that you can just click join and it'll work for you. Now, sometimes based off of your region, it doesn't always work and you might need to use a PC in order to join, but that's ultimately how you do become a member. And I appreciate your consideration for helping and supporting what I do here on the channel. Seriously, thank you. So what's going on, Nelly or Neil? Neil. I don't know how I got Nelly out of that. I read it backwards. What's going on? You said, hey, Quantum, what TV would you recommend between the TCL 6 Series Sony 950G or the Q80R? Is the Q80 worth the extra money, or am I better off saving money and going with the TCL or the Sony? I mean, that's a loaded question, because Samsung does have very inaccurate color that can't be calibrated out. No matter, even if you wanted to pay the top dollar, their color space system literally does nothing, so that's something that you're going to struggle with. However, the Sony, on the other hand, it has beautiful picture quality, but the black levels are a problem, and the TCL has a motion problem. You see where I'm going with this? Every single one of them has their own trade-off that you have to be willing to make. And I think it's kind of loaded, because it's like, the Samsung might be better if you need viewing angles, gaming features. You don't want to see any kind of blooming at all, because they do a better job at dimming down bright text and subtitles, and motion is incredible on that TV for the most part, but overall it's not perfect, right? And I think that part of it still is true. As far as colors and brightness could definitely be better. The 950G definitely has better brightness than the Q80R, so it just depends on what you're looking for. I would say if you could swing it, go for the Q80R, but do so understanding that colors are not going to be accurate. If accuracy is important to you, then you have to go with the 950G, but understand that you're sacrificing color. Under no circumstance, and this is for everybody, would I ever recommend the TCL 6 Series. I cannot stress, that TV's motion is terrible, and that is the single worst thing about that TV, despite what you might hear from other people on the internet or on YouTube. It's a really bad TV for motion. I've said it since day one. People laughed about it, talked smack about it. Now all the professional publications that are paid to tell you certain things, they say that, and then of course it becomes law. My veterans on the channel here, you guys already know how that goes, but essentially this is what it is, right? And I really hope that, like, you know, as you're shopping around, if you have other models, Neil, please send me those models or let me know what else you're thinking of, because it's a loaded question and it is a little difficult to decide between these TVs with so many different trade-offs having to be made. What's going on, Edgar? You said, hi Q, since you have the Q8FN 65-inch and also the 55-inch, do you notice any difference in picture quality between the Q9, or I'm sorry, I guess you meant the Q8FN? And then you were saying, and the Q8FN. I guess you were talking about when I had the 65-inch Q9FN versus the Q8FN, and which would I choose? I mean, if it's down between the Q8 and the Q9, the Q8 hands down every day of the week, because now I can't speak to any of the new firmware. I have received a couple messages talking about the new 1290 firmware, I believe it is, that has improved colors and brightness, but I can't speak to that. I am not only unwilling to update TVs, but I also I haven't run into another Q9, so I couldn't tell you if that's the case. Now, that being said, from what I saw on like firmware 1271, it was pretty darn bad, and it was like washed out. You lack contrast, you lack just that color that draws you in and makes you say wow. And the peak brightness was also quite a bit lower than what it was initially at launch. So these are problems that I'm sure Samsung did to sell their Q90R and make it stand out, but ultimately, yeah, the Q8 was better off. Now that could obviously easily change with the new updates that they have for these things. I wouldn't know. For anybody wondering, my Q8FN is still on 1251 and it will stay there. I have no intention on nerfing or bricking or destroying my TV. For those who've been watching the channel for years and years, you know I've already learned that lesson with my Samsung KS8000, and that TV just got dragged through the mud. And I mean, wow, it was just a bad journey. So I hope that answers your question there, Q8FN. Steven, what's going on? You said, any idea when you'll come out with the Dolby Vision settings for the H9F? Unfortunately, it's not very likely, because not only is the H9F sold out, but I no longer have the H9F. So that's probably one of those things that whatever settings I have for the H9F is kind of where I'm at. I do have quite a few. But unfortunately, man, I just don't have access to the TV anymore. I've even thought about buying it around Black Friday, but by the time that thought process kind of happened, it was completely sold out, so there's not much I can do. What's going on, Derek? He said, returning my Q7FN to the store for credit, have to replace, but with what? 55-inch gaming sports, Best Buy no longer has a Q8FN. What do I get? I mean, it depends on the amount you're comfortable with spending, because you have a couple different options. I mean, I could say you're coming from Samsung, you probably like what Samsung is offering. The Q80R would be the next best choice. Under no circumstance do you want to go to the Q70 or Q60R. Those TVs are really bad, especially the Q60R, because they ripped out the local dimming from last year's Q7FN, or rather Q6FN. So the Q7FN, while not fantastic, the Q70R has full array, but it's also not fantastic, and I believe it looks worse than the Q7FN, so the Q70R would be a hard pass. It gets really difficult. We were talking about some issues with Sony. Honestly, with Sony and their LED line of things, generally speaking, you don't want to invest in anything below their 950 series, because every single Sony LED TV below their 950 series is literally going to be garbage for black levels, like even worse than the 950. So it's like a pick your poison kind of thing, and it is really hard, and it is really unfortunate. It's like there needs to be some sort of movement to stop these companies from giving us trade-offs. That's how they keep their business going, right? And I've been reading questions here. That's ultimately what I think is going to happen at CES 2020. I think we're going to get a lot of conversation around a lot of fluff pieces, right? Like, let's be real, guys. Right now, technology's changing. We're at a point where everybody's comfortable with 4K, but now they're trying to push 8K. And you can only imagine now manufacturers understand the benefit of streaming. I mean, look at Disney. Now they have a streaming service that came out of nowhere that everybody seems to love. So it's just kind of like, this is going to continue to be the push. Streaming services and continual pushes for tech that's not ready yet. And I don't want to be a beta tester. Do you? I mean, like, that's my thing on it, because micro LED is not ready yet. Mini LED was supposed to be the temporary holdover. You saw how the TCL went. Literally, almost nobody that's even remotely honest with you will tell you that the black levels were perfect, right? I mean, almost everybody that I've watched, even people I can't stand, will tell you that, yeah, no, maybe it's not the best, right? So I think at this point, that's just what's going to continue to happen. A bunch of technologies that are not the best until they get where they need to be, which will take some time, like anything else does. And I think in the technology world, especially in the TV space, you know, marketing executives are really good at making you believe that the here is happening now. You know what I mean? Like everything is update today, upgrade today, go out and buy this new TV. And I think honestly what we have on the market right now will be the same. You're still going to have full array TVs that are going to have deep blacks with quantum dot color and awesome peak brightness, and OLED is still going to be the king for self-emissive technology. That is not changing in 2020, and maybe I'm wrong, but I really don't see a self-emissive technology being ready by 2020. I'm just saying, at least not on LED side of things. Now that being said, I have heard of some prototypes and some things that they're working on, right down to they're working on the world's first 8K holographic TV, which is basically just glassesless 3D. And I thought it was so funny when they called that a holographic TV. And then you've got, you know, Samsung, who's supposedly working on quantum dots that are self-emissive in nature. So we'll see how that goes. But ultimately, I really don't care, right? I have TVs and I just want to watch a good TV, and I think you guys are the same. So if you're looking for something of today's market, maybe you should wait till 2020. You don't really know what to do. Just remember, we said this like every single year, right? Like in 2018, we were like, if I just wait till 2019, those TVs will be the best. And I think if you get into the habit of doing that, there'll always be something they jip on to keep you hook, line, and sinkered in for the next year. So don't be that guy always having to upgrade, and you know, don't let them rope you in like that, is all I'm saying. All right, now to move back on to our questions we have here. We have Paradise. You said 18C where I am. I don't know what 18C is. What's going on, Enoch? You said, hey, Quantum, I had the Sony X930E since February, and since then I have never updated, so I just want to thank you for your advice on avoiding updates and trying to ruin the product. Man, you lucked out. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous because I loved the 930 before I updated it, and you probably saw how that is. That went so poorly for me, man. And I'm so glad I still see my 930 guys. I mean, it's a great TV. I really love that TV. It's heavy as hell, but it's a great TV, man. Yeah. So, yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for, again, supporting what I do by listening and applying it to your everyday life. It does pay off. Trust me, I've been there, so I know. But thanks, man. Binta, what's happening? You said I have the 55-inch Sony 900E. Should I update the Android UI to Oreo? It's really not that serious. I have the Oreo update. I mean, it's cosmetic, man. It doesn't change any of your settings around, any of your features. It doesn't add any refined motion. Your image won't get brighter. It's literally just a cosmetic thing. So that's a you question. I mean, you have to ask yourself, is it really that important for you to have Oreo for the sake of saying that? How often are you using Oreo as well? Do you only use the internal apps of the TV, or is that something that you really need? And only you have the answer to that, man. What's going on, Hamdi? You said, I have the A8G since September for a couple of, for a couple of time. Hold on, I had the A8G since September, and for a couple of time, it was impossible to run, or rather to turn on the TV. Each time I had to disconnect the AC cord to turn it on. That sounds like a massive hardware failure, and I would absolutely try to exchange it if you were still within your exchange period, which you're probably not. Then, in which case, sadly, you have to call Sony. Now, for anybody wondering, not just Hamdi, Sony has the absolute worst return exchange policy through the warranty. These jerks, I'll use that word because it's friendly, family friendly, okay? These jerks will sit there and give you a refurbished TV without your knowledge and without even telling you that that's what they're doing if you are outside of 90 days. So you need to be within 90 days of a purchase to get a brand new TV, and anything outside of that, you get a refurbished TV. Unbelievable. I can't even believe that Sony tried that. I figured that out with my 930D back in 2016. And, you know, throughout the years, I've had customers call in and had the same kinds of issues, and they're still doing that to this day. And in the event that they don't do that to you, they want to give you a credit for your TV, and this is how they get you, for their store on their website, which is almost always a lower dollar amount than the TV that you bought. Meaning that now you have to pay them money. Get this, get the nerve on this, right? You have to now pay them more money for a TV that was defective because they don't want to evaluate your TV properly. And this is just the worst. But yeah. So I completely know what you mean, but you're going to probably have to go through Sony, Hamdi, and I'm so sorry if you have a negative experience, like you probably will. Shamar, what's going on? You said the AAG is looking good. You said Sony is definitely straight by the prompt, which is very frustrating. That's unfortunate. It's so much bloom on the 950G. I'm saving for the Z9G 85-inch. It looks phenomenal. I think the Z9G would probably be something that's like early adoption, kind of like placebo effect type thing. I would seriously, for the amount of money they're charging for that thing, I would hold off for something a little better. What's going on, Paul? You said, would the 55-inch AAG have better pixel density and look slightly better than the 65 AAG, or is the picture the same? Thanks. So the idea behind pixel density, it's both a yes and a no question. It's a yes and no because this is OLED, so it's not LED, so things do get a little different because those pixels are self-emissive. But what I will tell you is, anytime a screen is smaller, the density is tighter with those pixels, because again, you're not expanding the amount of space or screen they need, so things are able to be rendered closer to each other because it's smaller, right? And the idea here is that you're now getting a tighter pixel density. Things are sharper as a result, which is why if you look at a YouTube video on your phone, it could be like a low quality, like, you know, let's say 480p even, and you might not notice immediately, where if you put that on your TV, which is expanding this and overcropping and over zooming, that's gonna just be the worst of the worst, and you'll notice just how bad it is. So bigger isn't always better in terms of getting better image quality. You really want to worry about distance when you start talking about bigger sizes, because that's the whole idea behind it. If you need a 65-inch TV, you're probably like me, sitting 25 plus feet away from your TV. Now, some people go upwards of 70, even 80 inches at my distance. I think that's overkill, but, you know, it is what it is. But essentially, yes and no, because, again, it's hard because the pixel density plays a part in it, but also the picture will be about the same in some areas because self-emissive is self-emissive. You do have that benefit as well, giving you that pixel level detail. So it's hard to say just how much better it will be, but it will be sharper and the pixel density will be tighter. But I don't think it'll be a day and night difference for you. I think now if you're on the fence and it's like it comes down to like, I want to save a couple of bucks, just get the 55, you know what I mean? Especially if you've got the space for it and you could like sit like, let's say, within 10 feet reasonably from your TV. I don't think that'd be a problem at all, but I think once you start going up into the bigger sizes, you do have problems with, you know, losing a little bit of quality for sure. All right, what's going on, Timothy? You said, hey bro, what's good? Nothing much. You said, how long you been playing guitar? Hell, long as I can remember. Hell, what has that been? 15 years, I think? Yeah, about 15 years so far. You said, the Les Paul you have looks beautiful. Thank you. You said, if you ever wanted a new band to check out, try Mayday Parade. Too late, bro. I've been listening to them for years, man. You said, my favorite band for 9 years. Yeah, I mean, I've really loved a lot of their stuff that they put out. Hell, Mayday Parade is pretty damn awesome. I believe they're the ones that did Tickle Pink and Jamie All Over or something like that. Those two were really good songs. So, yeah, man. We've got Catch. You have a code here for the community for anybody that wants Aquaman on 4K. So that was really cool of Catch to give out a digital code for anybody that wants it. Now, I'm going to be wrapping up the live stream here in a couple of minutes because I do have to take off and do something. But I do want to try to knock out as much of these comments and questions as I can. So let me just try to read straight through them. I won't read the names, but here we go. Power reading. All right, so thanks for your advice. The last of my week 65-inch is coming in tomorrow. Not bad. We've got where can I find your H9F settings? The H9F settings are exclusive to members, so just make sure you hit that join button to gain access to that stuff. A massive shout out to Peter for your donation of $9.99 and your awesome sticker emoji saying thank you. I really do appreciate it. It looks really, really cool, actually. I actually haven't seen the sticker. You're my first sticker on the channel, so massive shout out to Peter for that as well. And let's try to go through some more of the questions we have here. We've got when is the best time to upgrade the or update the UI? You said I believe when the bugs have been worked out, but when do we know? I say that updates are like a double-edged sword. They usually offer you one thing and take something else away. So I see lately what's happening is they'll say, hey, we're going to give you Apple AirPlay, but then de-optimize something else like your brightness and nerf your colors a bit. Of course, they will never tell you when they're going to do this, but we've already seen evidence that brightness can increase with updates, so you know that they can also take it away. But of course, no mainstream paid-off reporter will tell you that that's what's going to happen, that they're going to nerf your TV or anything like that, and vice versa. But we see all the major news outlets. I don't know if you guys have catch this in the news lately, or caught this in the news lately, but they're all talking about how the FBI is warning you about your TV, and it could be doing XYZ. It's the gateway to hackers and all that stuff. So again, you know, just be mindful. Updates, putting your TV online, not even the best idea. It's just another device on the internet, another vulnerability. Why have it, right? I am 100% offline with my TV, and instead I just use my source boxes like my PlayStation, Xbox, and things of that nature to stream. So that would be my recommendation. We have the Q8FN versus the A8G in terms of color and detail. In terms of detail, all day, every day, the A8G slaughters the Q8FN. I mean, it's three-dimensional, it pops more, it's just incredibly mind-blowing. Seriously, I was watching Lego Batman for the first time, like literally ever, because I never saw the movie for whatever reason. I never got around to it, and I saw it on the A8G, I think last night actually, and my god, it was not only incredibly bright, but the details were just, oh my god, I loved it. It looks incredible, and the movie was good, right up into the point where they did some uncomfortable stuff, but then overall I could forgive it because it was a fun movie. But that being said, the color on the Samsung Q8FN far exceeds the A8G. I want to buy a 86-inch LED TV. Which one do you prefer? I don't prefer 86-inch televisions or 80-inch televisions. I think that size is way too big for 4K. I would seriously consider waiting until 8K, and that is my professional recommendation. Big shout out to Roman and all of our other members here on the channel. I really appreciate you guys so much for helping all that we do here, man, so thank you. You said, when do you think it'll be time to get an 8K TV? I think once they come forward and start standardizing HDR, number one and most paramount, we need a standardization for HDR because it's way all over the place. We have HLG, HDR10, HDR10 Plus, Dolby Vision. I mean, and it's too much at this point. We need a standard reference way of calibration. That way we can finally calibrate this stuff out and see the best kind of HDR10 representations or whatever it will be on the market. So that's what I would say first we would need to have happen. And then, of course, ideally 12-bit displays, but we're ways off of that. We've got, would you recommend the Sony X950G, and what would be the best soundbar to pair with it? The Z9F soundbar is the best one that I would pair with it. I personally use the Z9F soundbar, and I would not recommend the Sony X950G personally because of gray black. Hey Quantum TV, purchased the Sony X900, what is it, the 900G? I never heard of the 900G. They actually make it? Is it like a European thing, or what is it, Peter? I haven't actually heard of that model. 75-inch and was very disappointed in the motion and overall zooming of the picture. Return it for the H9F. Not perfect, but much better than the X900. What was Sony thinking? I honestly don't know. Sometimes it's just a matter of greed, I feel, with Sony, like with the A8G. The A8G is a pure greed TV. I mean, they made it out of cheap plastic, where the A8F has a metallic trimming and build right down to metallic trims at the bottom. That kind of stuff adds up to a premium feel, right? Even down to the remote on the A8F being better because it was more like a rubbery, tactile feeling, very smooth, luxurious feeling remote found on the 900E, and then the other TVs as well. And then now in 2019, we get the garbage remote found on 2015 entry-level Android TVs. It's just really disrespectful, frankly. And yeah, so I don't know what Sony is thinking, but I mean, really, who knows, right? We've got another question coming in that says, was looking at the LG C9, Samsung Q80R, or the A8G to replace that Q7. Wasn't impressed by the Q7 FN, used it for mainly gaming. I mean, If you're between all those TVs, I would have to go with the A8G, as I personally did. It is a phenomenal TV, and ultimately why I chose the A8G over the Q80R is because the Q80R's black levels are not perfect, and for that I might as well have OLED, and the same can be said with viewing angles as well. So that was my big thing there. But if you need brightness or other features, that might be something to consider. We've got Q Hut. What's going on? Where is the Panasonic? I'm in the United States, man. I don't have access to Panasonic. If I did, trust me, I would review it. I'm in the States though. And again, 80 to 77 inches. I don't recommend those sizes until we get up to 8K, because 4K, you're just overcropping a resolution that is not made for a massive Titantron. That being said, we've got thoughts on Mr. 4K Upscaler. Oh my god, isn't this a gem? Okay, so let's just do this in 3 seconds. Garbage? I mean, that's it. That's all we need to say, right? What's going on, Julian? Big shout out to you for being a member of our community. Thank you so much for being a VIP member. You said, "Hey Quantum, would your AAG settings work for my work for the X950G?" No, I don't think they will, because it is a bit different. I would try the 950G settings. I should have some up though. If not, pretty sure I do. It might be on the second channel. I could try to check that, but I'm pretty sure I put them up on the main channel. I'm not entirely sure. Just get with me on that. I think I have them. I gotta double check on that though. Either way, you guys can always send me your settings and what you have, and I can recommend stuff, because I do work on these TVs, guys, and I can always recommend something that will work for you based off of how you have your TV set. I can look at like notes or pictures or whatever you send me, and then help you get the perfect settings from there. So again, all my members out there who are wondering, I can still do all that stuff for you guys as well. What's going on, Timothy? You said, I'm so happy right now. Would never have thought you knew MP. Yeah, man, it's great. You said, yeah, they did a song called Jamie All Over. I've met them, and they are the nicest people. Stay and Terrible Things Are Beautiful from them. I mean, I haven't gotten that far like into their work where I know like every single song, but I definitely love Mayday Parade. I think they're absolutely fantastic, and I have been listening to them since I was a teenager, dude. Like I believe, definitely since I was a teenager. So yeah, I really enjoyed their work. I think they do great work. So yeah. Do you know who has the Hisense H9F in stock? Yes, Best Buy has the 55-inch H9F in stock right now, but no 65s yet. Would you ever consider doing music videos? I wouldn't, because I kind of have this like thing where I don't give my music is a very personal thing to me, right? Like, it's a part of my soul. And to be very real with you guys, this AV community is brutal. I mean, you make a video about a TV and they're already sending death threats and, you know, screw you, you don't know what you're talking about. If I put a piece of my soul, my heart out there by giving my music what I actually love and, like, really put out there, and somebody is just going to tear it down just because they hate a TV video, I would never do that. And not only that, but more importantly, I kind of like being the private player for my wife. That's like a special thing I do for her. Now, as far as teaching music theory and how to play songs, I don't know any music theory whatsoever. I was self-taught, so I had to learn everything via tablature. So it was not a very easy thing to do, granted, but I was able to pull it off. But yeah, to learn the music theory, I don't know past basic chord names. I couldn't tell you where the notes are. I just know where they are, if that makes sense. Would you recommend waiting for micro LED TVs? No. I've actually worked on a couple micro LEDs, contrary to popular belief. It's not actually new technology. It's been around for a couple years, but only for like the super duper duper rich people, right? You know, the people that have like a home theater, literally a home theater room in their house. Yeah, those people. The problems I've noticed with those early stage kind of micro LED TVs is that a singular panel will go out. And when I say go out, it doesn't like turn black or it no longer works. It discolors and it looks really off. Like, it looks really, like, you could tell that there's something wrong, like something's dying about the TV. So that's something I wanted to kind of put out there for you guys. Would you recommend, I already got that one. Is the 900F a good all-around TV? No, the black levels will ruin the experience. Do you consider the KS8000 a good TV? Yes, I do. It is one of the sexiest TVs ever made, and honestly, the nicest looking TV in my house. As far as aesthetics go, it's Party Time says, hey Quanti. You said, bought the H9F65 last Friday, got lucky, won the panel lottery, wife's really happy, kids are blown away, and playing Pokemon Sword on the Switch. Yeah, that's pretty dope. You said, we thank you for rating the H9F. Yeah, man, I mean, we all gotta stick together, and I'm so sick and tired of, like, these AV snobs pretending like OLED or the top-end QLEDs are the only TVs worth anything. And I think it's so cute how none of them recommended it over those TVs, but that's why I exist, right? So I'm glad you and your family are having fun. It means the world to me that I was able to help you guys, truly, so thank you for that feedback. We've got, does the 900E still compete with today's TVs, and do you think it's worth $500 used? I do think it competes with today's TVs, as I do comparisons against new TVs all the time, against the 900E, and I think that buying any TV used is a bad idea. So there we go there. We've got X950G versus the Z9D in terms of detail and facial tones. I mean, the Z9D will slaughter that thing, my dude. What are you doing? The X950G sadly doesn't have the contrast ratio to be able to compete and the black levels to compete with a TV like the Z9D. And even though the colors are more adjustable through the color space management system on the 950G, it doesn't mean anything because the Z9D was made to a higher standard, if that makes sense. But yeah, my dude, yeah, that'd be a hell of a comparison. If I could do that, oh my god, I'd have fun watching the 950G get slaughtered. Now, to be fair to the 950G, the upscaling would probably be the winner because that chip is the real deal, but that's about it. What's going on? We got, I've heard you say the Q8FM was one of the best TVs ever made. However, the Q80 has been a bit of a downgrade. Yikes, I kind of knew that though. You said, is Samsung gonna create better TVs for 2020? I wouldn't put my hat on 2020. You said, hi, I'm so glad I found your channel. You rock. And you said, can you AdV? What's AdV? I don't know what that is. But thank you for the kind words. I definitely appreciate the feedback. You said, oops, meant to say Quantum. Sorry, my stupid autocorrect messed up your name. It's so cool, man. I don't even mind. I have people that literally can't say Quantum, like, at all. So, you know, believe me, a small little error like that's not a big deal, dude. You're totally good. We've got, you give me some advice what to pick around $1,200. The Hisense H9F is the top thing that will come to mind. You said mostly for gaming movies. Yeah, all around, I'm telling you, man, the H9F is a real deal. That's what I would recommend. Enval, what's going on? You said LMAO. You said change the channel name to Quanti. The people have spoken. I love your humor. This is just amazing. I love when you guys have fun with it. At least we're able to, like, kind of have fun and joke about things. So I love the healthy kind of fun we have here. So thank you guys for that. What's a good all-around TV? Anyone that suits your needs. Will Samsung update the Connect boxes to include Dolby Vision? Likely never ever, because Samsung wants money and that would defeat the purpose of buying their new TVs. Hey, glad you're doing well health-wise. Thank you so much. I am definitely doing a little better. Unfortunately, I've been working on physical therapy, which I hate and try to get out of every second of every day, but I am rehabilitating my body to try to work through a lot of my weaknesses that I have here due to my injury, so thank you for that. We've got, I'm coming from a home theater 9.2 suite, sound PJ all-around trimmings, but all 1080p. I think it's time for 4K. Should I upgrade my projector or display TV recommendations? I would try a TV if you can. I mean, the experience from a projector is great, but once you see a really nice TV, that's kind of it, at least for me, man. So I hope that kind of helps with that. As far as TV recommendations, it'd be hard to say what would fit with your sound system. I don't know, like, your space or everything. So I would say just look at the market and come back with a couple of models for me, and I'll definitely narrow them down for you for sure. You said 7 kids, all gamers, bro. Thanks. I mean, if they're gamers, it'd be kind of depending. If you want OLED, it'd be leaning towards the LG OLEDs from 2019 because they're great for gaming, or also Samsung with their QLED line because that's also the next best gaming TV as well. So it really does depend. We've got Your black manta is looking nice. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. And final question of the night. H9F seems to be great, but unfortunately I'm in Europe, so there's no way to get it. So any other recommendations around $1,200? Any other recommendations around $1,200, I would say would probably be... that's a hard price tag, my dude. 1,200, because they really get cheap. I mean, if you're okay with going down to 55 inches, I mean, on Amazon, I don't know, like, where you are. You're in Europe, that probably won't work. No, I'm going off of US, so now I've got to come up with something, right? All right, $1,200 is what I got to work with. I don't even know if you have Vizio. That wouldn't be a good TV. I wouldn't do that to you. That's terrible. That's a horrible advice, horrible recommendation. I wouldn't do that. Honestly, for $1,200, man, you're better off just kind of saving it a little bit and kind of waiting to see what else the market offers in 2020, because they really didn't try in 2019 for that price point. I mean, I could say the 900F, but that's not good for dark rooms, and the same for the 950G. The Q70 all the way down the line, right? That's all a hard pass. Like, don't even waste your time. The Q80 is a great TV if you're okay with color inaccuracies that cannot be calibrated out, but it's not $1,200 either. It's quite a bit more. The TCL 6 series is total garbage. I mean, outside of the Hisense H9F, I mean, for budget options, they really did not try much, man. So, unfortunately, as honest as it is, there isn't anything else. Sorry, man, I really wish there was more I could say other than that, but... Alright, so I want to thank all of you guys for stopping by tonight. If you guys have questions, please don't be afraid to leave them down on this video. I'm gonna be checking the comments either way and answering however many I can answer. But again, as you guys know, I got a lot going on. I mean, I don't always keep track of things, but I do thank you guys for stopping by and having a great night with me. It's been fun talking to you guys. Again, live stream 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday. That's the day we do these things. So please tell people in the comments if you see them who are asking what's going on. Why aren't we talking to you guys, or whatever the case may be. That's when we hold these live streams, just so we can give them more in depth and just kind of person-to-person interaction. I like talking to you guys. So that being said, you guys have a wonderful and blessed night, man. Thanks for watching the #1 brand in honesty, and until the next video, I'll see you guys later.